Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to meet you all. We hope you will have a beautiful day. Let us introduce ourselves to you. My name is Nguyễn Thu Trang.
And my name is Đào Thị Mỹ Linh. We are from Datsam High School, and today we are honored to bring the contest Real Life English School Years 2022 to 2023. An interesting topic is
Fast food or home meal? I hope we will bring an interesting, relaxing, but equally meaningful presentation. Don't waste any more of your time. Now, we are going to start our presentation. Our presentation is divided into three parts. The first is the battle between generations. Then, in the middle is understanding and solutions. Finally, we will talk about fast food or home meal.
In this presentation, we want to bring a multidimensional perspective in the connection between generations. These include difficulties which cause relationships in family to have large distances. Then there are solutions and advice. Finally, the message we want to send to our children, parents, and grandparents.
The generation gap has always existed, so let's open our hearts to share and connect all family members together instead of always arguing right and wrong about it. By adapting to convenience that modern life brings, along with that, it is still advisable to preserve the traditional core values, which make people closer to each other from love.
Let's start with part 1, the battle of the generations.
Have you ever had a fight with your parents? Are you thinking that your parents don't understand you? Your parents think that you are unreasonable, but it's not their fault or yours. In Vietnam, in the past 40 years, there have been many political, economic, and cultural changes taking place. The lifestyle of generations are shaped by so many different social contexts. So, this is not a battle of generation, but of a society full of design changes beyond the control of those in it.
In our parents' time, the farming was happening. Everyone did everything they could to survival. Therefore, learning is a very distant thing, and they can't live a life on their own and do what they really like. They don't even get enough to eat. Our generation, the changes in the technological age and the integration of the world, because living in a full environment and just focusing on self-development. However, we have completely different problems than our parents. Peer pressure, expectations our parents, the situation of early fruit pressing has gradually subdued the will of the children. Today's generation has different burdens than their parents, but that doesn't mean there are no burdens. This quarrel is not simply a quarrel but leaves the children with a huge wound, leading to excessive self-enclosure and defense. It leads to a deep rift with the relationship with the family.
Sympathy.
Passion.
Powerful.
Now, in part 2, understanding and solutions. In my opinion, that difference is completely reasonable.
I completely agree. We require parents to understand and accept unconditionally the way of life, and thinking with us is unreasonable. We need to step back before we object, take a bolder look at what our parents have been through, and understand why they think so differently from us. John, can you explain to me why the good advice in books we often see doesn't work and is counterproductive?
Well, I think it has a lot of reasons and aspects that affect this, because the advice in the books we often read is in the upbringing from America, Japan, and the context of this country is completely different from Vietnam. We are often shy and difficult to talk openly about our dream or sexuality. If you are not really open but still converse, it will be easier to conflict. So, from a young age, parents need to have activities together with their children to bond. Through games, sports, activities will be more convenient to connect with each other, and children should actively care about and share the pressure of work and housework with their parents to reduce their stress.
There's a saying that goes, tolerance is better practiced at a distance. It lies, tolerance is easy to maintain when we keep a healthy distance from people who are too different from us.
Now, I will reveal you a secret to communicate more easily with each other. You probably already know about it, but in case you haven't, with sincerity, patience, and importantly, the right way of thinking. I believe that if you know how and choose the right time, parents and children can understand each other better. We don't need to win arguments because understanding isn't about subduing them or forcing them to change their mind and follow our lead, but to understand and accept each other's differences and respect that.
You know, we can contribute to change our generation, our children. We can completely break those things, affect the next generation without having to argue with our parents. Because we live longer than our parents, and arguing is not as broad as we think.
Children in the 1900s felt imposed when they did not choose their favorite career but had to follow the arrangements of their parents.
And the children in the 21st century feel extremely confused and lost when they reach the important thresholds of life but cannot determine what they are really passionate about and what they want to do. You know,
I want to emphasize the main points as follows. Young people really need to learn to be independent before requiring parents to trust and let them be free. Independent here is as simple as letting your parents know before you go and where you are. What are you doing? It's not about house arrest, but about creating trust and safety for your parents and yourself.
the more independent you are, the more your parents trust you. Because they know you have the ability to protect yourself, to solve problems, and sometimes they will need your help. That sounds great, doesn't it? Let's end with part 3, fast food or home meals. I will tell you a little story about myself. You know, my father, although he does not seem to care much about the children and things in class like my mother, but every morning my car is led to the gate. He always tries to get me a new shirt for the new school year, and that melted me. In the past, parents held hands to each other to spell and write. You know, we have parents use phones and computers.
That's a lot like a sentence I like very much. You can buy a watch, but you can buy time. You can buy a doctor, but you can buy health. You can buy a house, but you can't make it a home. Do you choose to eat fast food or home meal? Both are no problem. Fast food for your busy days, but the meal is always hard for love. The time spent by family members is less and less even when they are in the same house. Meals are probably the only time some families get together.
How long has it been since you've taken time to cook a hearty meal and have fun with your family? Tonight, let's make a delicious food for the people you love. Have a warm evening. That's all we want to say in this presentation.
We wish best wishes to your loved ones.
And wish the contest a good success. We want to give you a meaningful message.
If you have a place to go, it's a home. If you have someone to love, it's a family. If you have both, it's a blessing.
Finally, thank you for taking the time to listen to our presentations. Goodbye!